Hi, and welcome to Season 8 of the 15-ish Minute Coffee Chat with Anna Larson and Selena Conmack. Together with their rotating panel of expert guests, these real-life boss babes share lessons learned and best practices you can use to level up your business. Anna is the owner of Nomadabout and is known for blending killer copy with proven marketing methods to create exciting business communications. Selena owns Howley Socially Inspired, and from layout to launch, her sleek website design and trending social media strategies provide a memorable customer experience with a taste of that famous Aloha spirit. Now it's time to laugh and be inspired, so grab a cup of coffee and enjoy the show.
Good morning and welcome to the 15-ish Minute Coffee Chat live streaming podcast with Anna and Selena. This is 8 seasons of best practices and advice for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Now, I've got a question. Does the universe bring you what you want? Are you clear in your intentions? Our guest today, Melissa Kirk of Kirk Consulting, shares how human design and scientific hand analysis can support small business owners and entrepreneurs in achieving their goals. So let's talk about how you are the creator of your future on today's 15-ish Minute Coffee Chat. Hey, not Melissa. Hi, Selena.
Good morning to you on this Tuesday.
Yes, good morning. I was like, hi, Melissa. She's not even here yet.
Well, here, look, you guys, we're really excited because we got to speak with her a little bit backstage before we went live. And there's just so many fascinating things about her that we were like, oh, wait, we're not even on yet. We have to stop the combo, So
I know. But to keep the time short, I'm going to have to pile in my questions before we get on. So this isn't like an hour and a half long show. I don't know that anybody has time for that today.
No, totally. We told Melissa that, I am too. But Anna has been like so excited about Melissa since we saw her name and what she does. And like when we say Melissa's name, Anna's like, yeah, our handle, that's what she associates. So she's really excited. I am too.
Well, I just think it's fascinating. There's a place for everything in the business world, right? And this is one of those areas that I find very interesting. Human design, manifestation, hand analysis. We were talking about the neuro-linguistic stuff also a little bit backstage. And so I'm excited to just kind of have that conversation about where does it fit in the business world. And Melissa's an expert on this, and she's been doing it for a while, and she knows what she's doing, and so, I'm excited to talk to somebody that actually does this for their business clients, and it's not totally not in the woo-woo world, she's
know what? I think there is a place for everything because when you receive certain information, you can make really great decisions, you know what I mean? Because it feels right in your gut or it feels right. And I just think having somebody like Melissa, I don't know, she's a real deal, guys. I don't know, you should be. Okay, why don't we, let's just talk about her. Let's just talk about her bio. Let's talk about
her bio real quick.
Okay, this is Melissa. People hire Melissa Kirk to get results they have sought after, explore her out of the box ideas, use her expertise to find and align with their passion and purpose. Shift their mindset to be empowered and create the lifestyle they deserve. She helps them find and purchase their dream home, attract the clients they want to work with, improve their relationships, systemize and grow their business, and improve their health. She helps them get to the root of the issues going on in their lives and turn things around to match their dreams, goals, and aspirations. I think everybody needs someone like this for sure. So
I agree.
Today we get to actually just talk to her. So this is your chance, guys.
Yes. Drop in the comments, first of all, where you're joining us from. And then remember, once we bring Melissa on, if you have questions, pop them in the comments because we can answer them live right here on the show. So I'm going to bring her on. Ready?
Yep.
All right. Hi,
Melissa. Hi. Thank you for coming.
Were you waving your hands so I could read?
That was totally simple. That was a hi, but no, yes. I think that was, you caught me, Melissa.
That was unintentional, but what do you see?
I know. We are good. Yes. No, I love it. Welcome to the show and good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, ladies.
Anna, let's do a quick little coffee cup selfie to get it out of the way so that way we can continue the conversation we had before we hit going live. Yeah, so Da-da-da. Okay, we're just gonna raise our cups up there, Melissa, and just do this little cheesy, like 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, let's dive in. Anna, let's do it. Because I don't want to waste any time with pleasantries in this sense. I want to know all the good things from Melissa that we're ready for.
I know. Oh, look, we've got some hands from a Facebook user jumping on to say hi as well.
Love it.
Okay, so our very first question, really, I mean, it's is the start of kind of our conversation, and it's how does human design and scientific hand analysis belong in the business world? You might have to back up a little bit and explain a little bit about human design and scientific hand analysis and kind of what they are in order to answer that question, though.
Okay, well, they were both systems that were downloaded in the late 80s when there was, just like in the current times that we have, there's themes that are going on. And in that time, there was a lot of information dropping down and people were downloading, much like, the inspiration of, writing the Bible or something, the information was downloaded and then people documented it. So there were two different people that did hand analysis and then a different person did human design. But the human design is based on the I Ching system, the tree of life, the chakra system, and astrology. It's the placement of the planets when you were born, and it creates a chart. And the hand analysis, the information about the fingerprint patterns, and it says, I know that it says in the Bible that your purpose is in your hands. So it was an interpretation of the fingerprint patterns, and there's a ranking system that you learn. And what it helps people do is be in the right role, be in the right, what they're designed to do. And then know, I read for hands for someone and everything in their hands were about freedom. And she had just changed the role from being a salesperson and out in the field. And then she bought the business and was a business owner. And she had given up all her freedom and her business was not doing well. She was really unhappy and she had no idea why. And the hand analysis really helped her to figure out, oh, well, if I don't have freedom in my life and I don't have freedom in my work, I'm miserable and nothing works and I'm never going to make money. And her business was not thriving. So it's that kind of thing where, she still owned the same business, but her role in it, she stepped up the support in the areas that were bogging her down and then stepped back into things that she had given up that she really loved. So that's what I help people do is figure out where's their genius? Where is the thing that makes them feel fulfilled? Because yes, you will make more money when you start aligning with who you are naturally, but it's more about the fulfillment and this, just the feeling that you're doing what you're here to do and you're making that impact. And, that raises your vibration, which affects your money. So it's just really fun for me to see how my clients' business and life transforms after they get this information.
This is so interesting to me. So when someone comes, okay, so I'm jumping into the very next question because they kind of flow together, right? So I'm sorry. In order to ask my next question, I have to ask this. So when people come to you for these services, what you're saying is they're looking for a solution to a problem. They're looking for, or kind of what do I do next? I mean, what is it that they're actually looking for?
It can be any of those. It can be clarity about what's holding them back. It can be direction. It can be, what is my purpose? Because that's addressed in both the hands and the human design. And just knowing what will light you up. How you are in a conversation with someone and they're just going yeah, whatever, and then all of a sudden you ask a different question, you ask about their kids or something, and then they light up So that's what I'm finding, that thing that makes you light up. I'm finding that thing that's going to make your life go on a different tangent and, get you unstuck and just get you in a direction that you'll thrive in and love. That's the whole, that's really the main goal. And everyone has a different problem that we're really addressing, but that's the end result, is finding your genius and living a life that you love.
Okay, so this is so interesting to me because clearly it's very interesting to me. But one of the reasons why is because I think that people have a hard time sometimes connecting that spiritual or what some might call woo woo side, right, with the business side. And you have now created this process where for your clients, you're bringing those two things together and helping them achieve more business wise by looking more at that, like, I don't know. Would you call it spiritual, I guess? I mean, I don't really know. Like,
I mean,
how do people react to that?
everyone's different, but I think that people are becoming more aware that there's more than just your physical efforts that are making things happen. There's things that are bigger than and outside of us. And, one of the big things is about mindset. And so if you're really, what you expect or what you think is really what creates your reality. So that's one of the other things that I do is I kind of feel like the hands and the human design are like your blueprint for success. It's what your recipe is, and it's unique to you. And then all your head trash comes up, right? I know when I first got my hands read, mine was all about my verbal message and my message from one to many and being on stage and being seen. And I was an expert hider. That like scared me to death. So I had to really work on, my own self-image and all the head trash that I had going on in my confidence in order to be seen, right? So I feel like that starts you on the path. And then when you change the way you think about things and we change your mindset and change how, if you're dating and you think all the good guys are taken or all the good girls are taken, well, then guess who you're going to find? You're going to get in the sphere of all the married women that are unavailable or all the married guys or, but if you believe something different, it's the same with your money. If you think that all rich people are evil or you think that they're all greedy and you don't want to be associated like that, then you're unconsciously going to block money because you don't want to be labeled as greedy or whatever it is. So it's really looking at those patterns that we've developed since childhood and then changing the way we think about it. The techniques that I use, they actually rewire the brain to think differently and it creates new neural pathways in the brain. So it's a lot of times, one of the biggest things with my clients is that I usually am really working with people that trust me because what I tell them to do, they always tell me, this sounds crazy. If anyone else told me to do this, I wouldn't do it. But I work with a lot of referrals. And what happens is people start seeing their life changing and they want to know what they're doing. And then they tell them to work with me and they may look sideways at like, what are you talking about? Or are you serious? But they're like, well, my friend got really good results. So sometimes it's just that blind trust and just go with what I say and try it. Other people want to know the nitty gritty of how it works and why, but usually I'm great at explaining the science behind it, but usually that's not my ideal client. My ideal client is like, oh, this sounds really cool and I want that result and I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
No, you just did a brain blowout in my head because I was like, I think it's such a testament when you say like the referrals are how you get it just says to people that, hey, like your previous clients really loved what you provided them. And so I'm right. I mean, gosh, okay. That's all I can say right now.
Well, I'm curious. Could you just, for those of us that are kind of like new to this arena, tell us what would a typical session look like for you when you had a business client come in or a client, any client, I suppose. It doesn't always have to be business related. I'm assuming this is life altering, not just business life altering in that sense.
No,
so what would a typical session look like with you?
So I usually like to start out with, I either do like a hand analysis or a human design. And a lot of my clients do both, right? Because they are very congruent, but they give different information. So, but I've never had, read someone's hands and it says, oh, you need to go in this direction, and then read their human design. And it's like, oh no, forget all that. It's this. It's always very congruent. Okay. So usually that's where I like to start because that's like, instead of doing a DISC or a personality profile or strength finders, Myers-Briggs, because I have a psychology degree. So we had to learn all the different, methods of personality profiling. But instead of doing that, this gives me if I don't do that first, it takes 3-4 months of coaching for me to get all this information, right? So typically that's where I start. I start with doing the readings, and it's so eye-opening to them. And it's a lot of times I'm not even telling them something they don't know, right? Because I'm telling you about you, and they may recognize it, but they don't realize that this is their recipe. They don't realize that that's the point, and how to step into that and make sure everything's aligned with it. So usually when I do my readings, they're either an hour or 90 minutes. And then we take from there, I do coaching with them afterwards to help them align with the information and to figure out why isn't this working? And we dig down into the mindset stuff. And then we also just do, working with getting deeper layers of what's in their charts. So, yeah.
Can you do this virtually? Can you do a hand? And I'm so curious how do you do that?
I send ink sheets. So I mail ink to my clients because, the ink makes things.
Yeah.
So then you can just email them back to me. So then I'm looking at your prints when I'm on doing the reading.
Yeah.
Same thing with the human design. It's based on your birth information. So it's your date of birth, time of birth, and location. And so when they send that to me, I create the chart. And so then I can just email them the chart.
I will just share this. When I was born in the 70s, my parents, literally, I was only a couple of weeks old, but my parents went to Paris as a gift. My dad gifted my mom, thank you for birthing our first child. And they went off to Paris, and my mom actually got a reading of an astrological reading. Mm-hmm. I still have it. It is it's ripping, it's old, but it's really interesting as I get older when I look at it, just because they had to provide them the time of my birth,
Well, because it's when you're sitting right here, and if you looked out into where everything is, it's your perspective in that moment. That's and that's how it influences you.
I feel like I'm gonna find this, Melissa, and take a picture. I'm gonna just tag you in and be like, Melissa, look at my very old.
Look at this reading.
Do they change over time? So as you grow and learn and develop kind of that inner purpose, do you get different readings from people if they come back to you a second time? Is it I've achieved kind of this point? Now I would really do they have a goal in mind when they come to you? I want to get to here. How do I do that?
Yeah. So when I print your hands, I used to print my hands every month. And if I put all the prints of my hands up on a wall, you wouldn't, unless you really look closely at it, you wouldn't realize they're all the same hands, because different things will print. It's connected to your brain. So when you're going through something rough, parts of your hand won't print, because they kind of disappear off they recess. So it won't come up on the ink. So when I'm doing it, with the human design, there's also the transits, that's where the planets are right now. So your birth chart has your foundation, but then what's happening outside right now with the universe and the stars and whatever, the planets, that affects you for today. So it can help you get out of a cycle you're in. It can, there's things how they interact. So most people, when they first get a reading, will get their birth reading. And it's the same with astrology too. I do some astrology too. So you go get your birth interpretation, but then they have in astrology, they have progress charts where, if the whole chart kind of shifts a little bit over time. And so then, where you might have been a Gemini sun at one point, now you're a Leo sun, because things have shifted. And so your personality shifts. But it also goes with, what's gone on in your life and how you've dealt with the trauma. Have you looked at and done healing work? That will transform things too. So even if I just give you the same exact reading, 20 years later and you've been diligently doing your personal work, you're going to hear it. It's going to land in a very different way because now you're a different person. And then it takes you from that place, another, cycle of change and healing and addressing things. So
That's so interesting.
I think it's fascinating, right? How your body tells your story like that, and how you, Donna, I love what you said.
Well, and I love the balance that what you're talking about, that balance, because let's just say whether you believe in this science or not, what you're saying speaks truth in terms of like when you continue to work on yourself in whatever manner that may be, you're going to continue to grow as a person, which then changes your ability to cope, to handle things, to deal with things, to grow even further. You see that progression happening. So this feels like yet one tool that someone has in order to kind of come to the realization of who they are and what they are capable of, which I think is super fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always tell people that your chart is your potential. So it's like you're a Ferrari and you're a amazing machine for performance. But if you have flat tires, if your transmission doesn't work, if you've got stuff going on, then who cares that you're a Ferrari? And so this is like your chart is your Ferrari, and we need to get you in alignment to be able to be the well-oiled machine that it can be.
Yeah. I want to be on the raceway.
That is like my favorite line right there. It's just like, it's your potential. Like that's, the map to your potential. That's so
Yeah.
Right. That's why I was so scared when I got my own. Oh my gosh.
Right. And you're right though. It can be overwhelming when you are being told your potential, right? And I think it's like what you do with it, right? Like, are you ready to go to the pit crew so they can put the new tires on to kind of do what, oh man, what a great,
Well, yeah. And are you ready to be the new driver, right? Like, are you going to be Mario Andretti, or are you going to be that guy that just came out of school, doesn't know what they're doing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that analogy of like, it's putting all the pieces together so that you are as you are reaching that potential that you have. And that's got to be super scary for some people if they're not ready to hear that. I'm sure it takes a lot of coaching and work for them to understand even what some of that might mean for them.
Yeah. And I don't know why, maybe because I have a child, but you just took me back to like the Cars series, right? From Disney. And just like, that is like, right? Like you gotta do anyway, I love that.
Who would you be now? I would be like Mater. I am totally the tow truck right now, like bumbling along, just doing my thing.
No, well, I was just saying, like, man, I was a Mater before, but how Mater wants to be the race car, like, and I forget what he throws on a costume or something, but I'm like, I'm really a Maserati in a Mater body. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's
where I might be the crotchety old sheriff. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay, Melissa, we do have one more question for you. And we're gonna talk about the toolkit a little bit further, which is one of your download guides. But we did take a look at your download guide. And one of the things that we saw in there where you talked about manifestation and how it relates to business. And so we wanted to ask you if you could share the ground rules for manifesting when it relates to business, and kind of, what do you tell people? It's in your freebie, so we're going to tell everybody to go get it anyway. But if you could share with us a little bit now of what's in there, I would really love it.
Well, I would say the bottom line of manifesting is where people get caught up and they don't know how to get to the next level is by trying to figure out how the things are going to happen. So it's really about setting clear intention. And so like if, for instance, they don't have money, by the end of the week, they have to pay their rent, right? And they don't have the money today, but they set the intention that the money will come in. But there's a difference between just saying, I need $3,000 by Friday, and then trying to figure out how that money is going to come in. That is not your job. That is the biggest thing in manifesting is It's your job to make clear intentions. It's your job to be focused on the goal. It is not your job to decide that all of a sudden someone that you knew 20 years ago that you were very kind to died and left you money. Or, you all of a sudden you get 10 new clients that you weren't expecting. You can't anticipate those things. But what happens is when you have a clear intention of this is what I need, the universe conspires to bring it to you unless you block it. So it's about keeping that clarity. It's about keeping the focus and trusting. If you're sitting here in anxiety all the time and, worried about it and just keep talking about, I don't have any money, I don't have any money, I don't have any money, then guess what? You won't have any money. But if you get like, you know what, I'm making a big impact in the world and I need this money in order to keep my business running, and just say, well, $3,000 needs to be here by Friday, and then let it go, it has a much better chance of coming to you in that energy form, because you're raising your vibration. Anxiety is not a good vibration. Fear is not a worry. Those are not vibrations that attract positive things. So that's the biggest like piece. If you don't get that piece, all the exercises you do in the book, they don't really help that much because you're blocking it by your fear.
Yeah. I have to say, for me, it's hard to understand that process, because in my mind, it's identify the problem, solve the problem in whatever way you need to be able to do that. And so it is focusing on that how process. And what you're saying is throw that out the window. It's just going to happen naturally, right? It's hard for me and my personality to say yes to that.
Well, in manifesting, there's two pieces of it, because some people think they can just meditate and everything will just come to them. And other people are furious with action and nonstop, but it's the balance of both. It's the balance of having the clarity, taking action. Part of that is opportunities will come to you. And so are you taking them? I'm sure you've all heard the riddle of when there was the flood and a boat drove up and he said, oh no, God will save me. And then a helicopter shot, God will save me. And then he drowned. And he's like, well, why didn't you save me? I sent you a boat. I sent you, so we have to take the opportunity and take action. Yeah. But it's not just through our own efforts. There's a support that comes to you when you have this trust and when you're clear on what you want, because the clarity also helps. Like, you don't go to a restaurant and say, oh, I think I'll have a burrito. No, wait, I want a salad. No, the burger sounds really good, right? What's the waitress going to bring you? Right. That's no clarity, right? You don't do that.
Yeah.
But we do that in life. And so that's what happens is the universe hears one thing and starts bringing that to you, and then you change. Yeah. And now that thing backs out and something new's coming. Then before that gets there, you change it again. That's a lot of the problem of how people manifest.
Yeah, no, I'm not Anna. I am totally in that belief system. Like when I just started reading your guide, and I'm like, like you said, when you're clear, and it's funny because we've had you on that. Like I had way more manifesting videos show up in my TikTok feed, and I'm like, I wanted to bring one on and show you to be like, look, this is my lady. But I think when you are clear, like you say, it really does kind of put you on that path, right? Yeah. Like you said, if you're like, I want a salad, no, I want a burger, it just like doesn't know what path to go down. So then therefore you're not ready to
get nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So I will say that was a bit of a light bulb moment, because I am impatient, right? And so I do see myself in this person you're describing that says, I work for this and it's not happening. So I'm going to move to this. Try. Not happening. Back over here. So yes, I did just order a burger, a salad, and some pasta at the same time. And my waitress is absolutely confused.
So I went back to the kitchen like, this lady does not know what she wants.
Well, and what ends up happening when you do that is it creates chaos, right?
Yeah.
There's not enough room at the table for all those meals for one person. Or can you eat it all?
Right. Or it's just wasted, right? Like you called in great gifts, but you can't do them all, and now they're wasted because they weren't given at the right time. That's
interesting. This is such a good conversation. I do love this stuff, but despite my personal inability to sometimes grasp the concepts and do them well, I do find it like fascinating to learn about just that inner connection that is available, and really understanding. I think in the older I get, the more important it becomes to me to really understand who that person is. When I was in my young 20s, it's like whatever, right? Like I was charging ahead, just doing whatever I was going to do. But now I feel like I need to make sure that there's intention and purpose behind the decisions I make. And so I love having these tools, Melissa. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, well, speaking of tools, I guess we're moving. This is me too. If I get stifled during a project, I switch to a different project. I am a serial starter.
Right?
That's probably in your chart.
Yeah. I would be so interested to see John and Anna get read, because I think it would be fascinating. On next present.
I know.
Okay. First of all, we've gone over our usual 3-question limit. So we know that Melissa's busy. So we're going to move on to where you can find her.
Yes.
We'll have Melissa tell you all the things. So go ahead, Melissa, let everybody know where they can continue the conversation.
Okay, well, my website is melissakirk.com, and there is, like what they were talking about, how to manifest anything. There's a free ebook. I'm also working on getting it so that you can get your free human design chart also, but it's not up yet. So that's coming. So check back. But I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So it's just at Melissa Kirk or Melissa Kirk Consulting, I think. And
there's no reason not to find her. Like I say every time.
Get all these options right here. And I'm definitely I'll definitely be back on your website to take a look at that human design when it comes up. And I am reading through your ebook. It's just like I said, that process of really understanding how
it's a mind shift.
It's
a huge mind shift. And it's a little exhausting, to be honest. It's like
the whole thing at once. Really digest each piece of it and do the exercises and then come back to the rest.
Right.
No, yeah, Anna is like that. She's like this stone wall that she's like, I'm good, we're good here. And then, so when you present something to her that is not she's like, hold up. You just have to kind of chisel a little away at her and she's there. But okay, we're going to move on to our toolkit, and this is exactly what we were talking about. We'll have Melissa, it's right here, but Melissa, that's what they need to get, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it'll take you to the next level, definitely.
Yes. And I can't believe you're giving it away for free. You guys, really, this is something great just to kind of have on you. Anna is back at the pool because it's warmer here in Texas. And I think this would be great for you, Anna, to kind of go through this. You can manifest stuff at the pool.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, I can. I just dropped in the comments the direct link to her website, so you can jump on there and grab this freebie off of her website. So run to the comments, click on that link. Really, honestly, I think this really applies to anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
If there are things that not even if there's things that you feel like you're missing, it's just such a good practice.
Yeah.
Manifestation, I think, is just such good practice in that sense.
Yeah.
For all things in all life, right?
Yeah. Melissa, I will tell you, there was a guest probably 30 or 40 episodes ago that we had listened to a manifestation thing. And then we went on and did a quick podcast and said, you know what, we're going to manifest that we would like this guest to be on our show. And we put it out there and they were a guest on our show, but we made our intentions clear.
Yep. That's the key. Clear.
Yes. So anyway, you guys, very easy. Anna dropped the link in all the places. So please go grab this. You'll find it, pop in your email. It'll go right into your inbox. Anyway. Okay. We're on to, and if you are listening to this on the podcast, you will find Melissa's link in the description. So go there so you can grab her freebie. Anna, what's our little tip jar?
Yes. Thank you to Caitlin Eldridge of Eldridge CPA, our resident CPA, for giving us this tip every week. So she says, keep your receipts. You're going to need them in case of an audit. So if you're just finishing up your business taxes, don't go tossing those receipts in the garbage can because you think you're done with them.
Yeah.
File them away. I think you have to keep them for 7 years. Okay, don't
Yeah.
quote me on that. Is it 10?
No,
It's
Yeah,
7, I
7.
think.
It is 7. Yeah. So you have to keep them for 7 years. So, 7 years ago, you can toss out those ones, but keep this year's in your file cabinet so that you have them available because you never know when. Gosh, I feel like I'm scaring people. I'm not manifesting this, but you never know when the IRS comes knocking.
you're
No, but if you keep your receipts, you won't get audited, right?
Yes, yes.
You're prepared.
You're manifesting organization so you can protect yourself in the future.
So you have no fear of it.
Yes.
That's what I like to hear right there. Okay. Well, okay. We want to thank Melissa again for coming on. Next week, we're bringing on our guest, Amanda Huffman, who does a number of things.
Yeah.
She is a veteran military service member, then turned entrepreneur, and she is fascinating and she has a large following and does all kinds of things we can't wait to talk to her about. So join us next week at 10 a.m. for our conversation with Amanda. And then, as always, you can find us at annaandselena.com on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or any of your favorite podcast platforms for the 15-ish minute coffee chat. And go check out our new website. We just did our new website. So we want you to just go there and take a look at it. And don't forget to hit subscribe on all of those different places.
Yeah.
Melissa, fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
I will make my way through your manifestation guide because it's so interesting to me. Yeah. And I plan on keeping in touch. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, you guys are great.
Yes, this is something that has long fascinated me. And so anyway, I am super curious how, to continue that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to have you guys on my podcast. So
we love that.
Oh, tell us. You should finish up with that. What is your podcast for anyone out there listening?
You know what? I haven't named it yet because I'm starting it. It goes live in May. So I've been doing a lot of podcasts this last year and I really liked it. And I had a couple people tell me, you need to have your own. Yeah. So I did it. So now I'm like, okay, so you guys would be awesome to have come interview and be on.
Love to.
Yes, that would be amazing.
I am manifesting that we will be on your show with all the bells and whistles that you need us to have. So,
all right. Deal.
But no, thank you again. Like Anna said, it was such a pleasure speaking with you. We'll see you backstage for just a quick little, really like our own goodbyes. But you guys, thank you for joining us. It was such a great show. We're just so lucky when we get to have guests like Melissa on. Mm-hmm. So thank you for joining us. Go check her out. Listen to us on the podcast, all the things that Anna said.
No, and follow your intentions, the real purpose of who you are. That's the message today, right?
Grab her guide. I'm telling you, it is good. I'm not joking. All right. Okay. I'm sure we can keep doing it. Melissa's like, I want more. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.